November 24th, 1971. A storm is brewing over the Pacific Northwest. Flight 305 is preparing for a routine 30-minute hop from Portland to Seattle. A man walks up to the counter. He's in a crisp, dark suit, wearing a black tie with a mother-of-pearl tie clip. He pays cash for a one-way ticket under the name Dan Cooper. He takes his seat in the back row, lights a cigarette, and politely orders a bourbon and soda. Just an average businessman on a rainy Wednesday. Except, in a few hours, this man will walk away with $200,000 in cash, jump out of this plane into the freezing, pitch-black night, and completely vanish from the face of the earth. But here is the real puzzle. How do you successfully hijack a commercial airliner filled with passengers, using nothing but a briefcase and a polite smile, without causing a single drop of panic on board? The answer is simple. You don't act like a terrorist. You act like a gentleman. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper hands a folded note to a 23-year-old flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. She's used to businessmen slipping her their phone numbers, so she drops it in her purse without looking. Cooper leans in, his voice calm, almost a whisper. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." She opens it. The message is printed in neat all-caps letters. She asks to see the bomb. Cooper calmly opens his briefcase, just enough for her to see 8 red cylinders attached to wires and a large battery. He doesn't scream. He doesn't hold anyone hostage at gunpoint. He just dictates his terms. $200,000 in negotiable $20 bills, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. Down on the ground, the FBI is scrambling. They are frantically taking photos of 10,000 $20 bills to record the serial numbers. Meanwhile, up in the air, the other passengers have no idea they are being hijacked. They think it's just a mechanical delay. Cooper even pays his bar tab, leaving a generous tip for the flight attendants. A true professional. The plane lands in Seattle. Cooper keeps his word. He lets all 36 passengers go in exchange for the money and the parachutes. Then, he orders the pilots to take off again, setting a course for Mexico City. But he gives them a very specific, very strange set of instructions. Fly no higher than 10,000 feet. Keep the landing gear down. And leave the rear cabin unpressurized. It's 8 p.m. The plane is flying through a violent thunderstorm over the dense, unforgiving forests of Washington state. Inside the freezing cabin, Cooper is entirely alone. He ties the money bag around his waist. He puts on 2 parachutes. And then, he does something no one thought possible. He lowers the aft air stair, the staircase at the back of the Boeing 727, right into the screaming wind. At 8:13 p.m., the pilots feel a sudden shift in air pressure. The plane pitches upward. Dan Cooper has just stepped off the stairs and disappeared into the void. This brings us to the ultimate question. Jumping into a freezing storm at night, over jagged mountains, wearing a business suit and a pair of loafers, is a guaranteed death sentence. Did D.B. Cooper survive the impossible jump, or was this entire hijacking just a wildly elaborate suicide mission? The FBI launched NORJAK, the most extensive and expensive manhunt in American history. Thousands of troops scoured the forests. They used Blackbird spy planes, submarines in the lakes, and local trackers. What did they find? Absolutely nothing. 0. No parachute. No body. No money. It was as if the storm simply swallowed him whole. For years, the FBI chased ghosts. They interviewed over 800 suspects. There was Richard McCoy, a man who pulled off the exact same hijacking 5 months later. He even asked for $500,000. But McCoy was an idiot. He left his handwritten ransom note on the plane and was arrested 2 days later. Cooper was too smart for that. The trail went ice cold. Until February 1980. A young boy named Brian Ingram was digging a fire pit on the sandy banks of the Columbia River, miles away from the suspected drop zone. His shovel hit something. It was 3 bundles of heavily decayed $20 bills. The total was $5,800. The FBI checked the serial numbers. It was a perfect match. It was Cooper's ransom money. But this discovery only created more questions. If Cooper died on impact, where was the rest of the $194,000? And why were only these 3 bundles buried in the sand, still held together by the original rubber bands? Some agents argued the money washed down the river, but hydrologists proved the money was placed there years after the hijacking. Did Cooper plant it there to throw the FBI off his scent? Was he laughing at them from a beach in Mexico? In 2016, after 45 years of dead ends, the FBI officially closed the case of D.B. Cooper, admitting defeat. He became a phantom, an American legend, the only man in the history of U.S. aviation to successfully hijack a commercial airliner, extort a fortune, and simply walk away. Maybe he was a disgruntled paratrooper. Maybe he was a CIA operative. Or maybe he was just a desperate man who got incredibly lucky and spent his remaining years looking over his shoulder. The files are closed, but the mystery is still wide open. So, I'm turning the case over to you. Did D.B. Cooper survive the jump and live out his days as a millionaire? Or are his bones still resting somewhere at the bottom of the Pacific Northwest? Leave your verdict in the comments below. And remember, if you're going to pull off the perfect crime, make sure you dress for the occasion. Subscribe for more closed cases and stay out of trouble.